Hey everyone, it's Mark. This is my recap for Pokémon Horizons episode 24, Reunion at the Old Castle. This was the 1256th episode of the Pokémon anime, and it was released on Friday the 13th in October, so that's why I'm using scary Pokémon music in the background. Let's get into the episode. So after Liko catches us up on what happened in the Galar mine with Terapagos revealing itself, we see that the Rising Volteclers have no clue what this Pokemon is. The Pokedex doesn't have any idea either, and really their only lead is asking Liko's grandmother about it, so Freed tells Liko and Roy to come on and get ready. This is something that I'm curious to track as the series goes on, but it seems so weird to me how and when Freed decides to leave Cap on the Brave Asagi, and this is one such instance of that. We see the kids preparing to leave, and Liko has loaded up Terapagos into her backpack, and it looks like Terapagos and Hatena have already become good friends. Sprigatito, on the other hand, is looking kind of down, but Liko isn't going to worry that much about it. She's ready to go meet up with her grandma. This trio leaves the rest of the Rising Volteclers behind, and again, it seems kind of arbitrary who goes on these missions and who stays at the ship. On another ship, well actually a submarine, Amethio is talking to Hamber, who questions Amethio on what he's been up to. Our young antagonist is pretty matter-of-fact with his superior showing him a video of Terapagos outside of its pendant form. Hamber is shocked to see this, and Amethio questions what the explorers really know. He doesn't really get an answer before he hangs up, and Hamber asks for the other admins. Spinel and Agate are busy doing something else, so instead it's time for Onyx and Sambo to join the fun. They start to bicker, so Hamber shoots them a dirty look as his Dusknoir ominously pops up to add to the threat. Onyx and Sambo fall in line, and Hamber leads the group out of their base. He's going too. Let's check back in with our heroes who have just gotten off the train near Hammerlock. They're met by that yellow Squawkabilly, and Liko confirms that it's her grandmother's Pokemon even though we last saw it with her mother. It flies off in the direction of Liko's grandmother, so everyone follows it. They eventually reach a dead end, but Squawkabilly uses the phrase, hold on, Liko good girl? Okay, and that gets a secret passage to open up, thanks to the stone journer that was blocking the way. It closes immediately after they enter the secret passage, so the explorers that were secretly tailing them have now lost the scent. On their way to the castle, Liko talks about her grandmother, explaining that she does all kinds of adventures and that the last time she saw her was about a year ago when Liko had gotten accepted into Indigo Academy, and that's when Liko's grandmother gave her the pendant. They finally arrive at the castle, and after Liko shouts for her grandmother, it's actually her Arcanine that comes to meet them, and while it shocks everybody else, Liko is happy to see an old friend. I loved how Freed was ready to battle and Fuecoco was petrified. That's how you know Arcanine really made an entrance. Then the main doors open, and we finally get to meet Liko's grandmother. She invites them all inside and introduces herself as Diana, which surprised me after hearing Liko, Luca, and Lucius all have such similar names. Anyways, Liko introduces Sprigatito like she promised, and Sprigatito tries to scratch Diana, but she dodges, smiling at it while Liko freaks out. They venture deeper into the castle and see that Diana is housing a ton of wild Pokemon there, especially a lot of ghost types for some reason. They finally sit down and start to talk about the pendant. Liko and Freed are like, oh yeah, about that. And guess who decides to pop out at this exact second? Yeah, Terapagos is quick to make friends with Diana, and she says it looks like a Terapagos, which is the first time anyone in the anime has been able to tell what this thing is. Diana mentions how this Terapagos looks different from the form she's familiar with, and yeah, that checks out. And while she didn't know the pendant was actually Terapagos, Diana quickly theorizes that it may have been one of Lucius's Pokemon. And Terapagos perks up and gets excited after hearing Lucius's name. Checking back in with the explorers for a quick scene, they finally found the stone journer blocking the secret path, and Amethio wastes no time blasting it with a Psycho Cut from Ceruledge before continuing further towards the castle. Back inside the castle, Liko asks her grandmother to tell them about her adventures. Diana starts from the beginning as we enter flashback mode to see her finding the pendant and some old journals hidden in their home. We see the drawing of terrestrial form Terapagos, and it was after learning about Lucius that Diana set off on her own journey to learn more about him. Unfortunately, she never discovered anything about Lucius and gave up her search, but she continued being a lifelong adventurer, and she credits that to Lucius. Recently, an old friend stopped by to help her, and in a shocking turn of events, that old friend was Hamber, and he came with a ton of explorers goons looking for the pendant. Freed is fired up after hearing about Terapagos and the pendant, and Roy is excited to show off the ancient Pokeballs, and they talk about their encounters with Lucius's heroes. Liko speculates that those strange visions were actually Terapagos' memories, and then she asks about Rakua. This makes Terapagos react once again, and it starts crawling somewhere, only for Hatena to jump out of Liko's hood and stop it. Diana was shocked to hear Liko mention Rakua, and explains that Rakua was the name of the paradise that Lucius was after. She walks away from the others, saying that she's gonna go bring them some of Lucius's memoirs, but as she walks off, her Pokemon alert her to some nearby intruders. Sure enough, the music starts to rise as Liko's Pokemon are all on edge, and we see a shadowy figure approaching the castle, but then Amethio just casually walks in through an open doorway, which was really funny to me for some reason. Everyone except Roy immediately calls out their Pokemon, and oh boy, here we go. Methio only has eyes for Terapagos, who stares right back at him. There's a really funny scene with Hatena jumping out of Liko's hood, only to run circles around Terapagos as a warning before it falls over from exhaustion. The episode ends on this dramatic cliffhanger with Terapagos fired up at the sight of the explorers. I'm giving this episode a 6 out of 10 rating. Yeah, if you hadn't noticed, I'm trying to make this review relatively brief, so I'm getting my rating out of the way immediately. I liked this episode, and it had a lot of important exposition, but overall it was just fine. And again, let me be clear, a 6 out of 10 is a good rating. I did enjoy this episode, but let's be honest, we're just building up to way more exciting stuff. I mean, it fascinates me that we aren't headed for Area 0. Instead, this Rakua we heard about in the previous episode is actually the mysterious paradise we're after. Sure, Rakua could end up being Area 0, but you'd think we would have heard this term used in Scarlet and Violet before, but nope, Rakua is totally new to the anime. In other news, I love Hatena and Terapagos' friendship, they are adorable. And in general, Terapagos is a fascinating Pokemon to watch. It's so innocent and genuine in the way that it acts, like it freaks out every time it hears something related to Lucius, and I wonder how it will continue to behave as the series goes on. Let's dive straight into the preview for the next episode, and it just looks like an all-out war between the Rising Volteclers and the Explorers. There was no sign of Hamber, Sambo, or Onyx in the preview, but we know they're on the way. Nidothing made a big deal about Freed in this preview, and we'll see what he does without Captain Pikachu by his side. Overall, this is shaping up to be the wildest clash at the castle since, well, Clash at the Castle. And from that reference that maybe 5% of you will get, let me explain why this review was so late. During the 2-week break from Horizons, I played through the entirety of the Teal Mask DLC, bought myself a capture card, and the latest Assassin's Creed game came out. So yeah, I decided to sink 25 hours of playtime into AC Mirage before I even touched this review, and I regret absolutely nothing. I really enjoyed that game, and the Teal Mask was alright too. Maybe this is the start of me venturing into more gaming content, who knows? Oh yeah, another thing that happened during the 2-week break of Horizons was that we just finished another Pokemon Showdown tournament over in my server, so of course I gotta shout out Iger for being victorious in that one. As always, you can join my Discord server using the link down in the description, and you can battle against me and my friends over there. But that's all I have to say this week. Feel free to let me know your thoughts down in the comments, but I realize this review is getting posted just hours before episode 25 airs, so there's not that much time left to discuss this episode. On the plus side, having to wait this long for my review of episode 24 just means that the next video for episode 25 will be here before you know it. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already so you don't miss my next review. Go ahead and click the like button on this video if you want to make me smile, and thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.